Mr. Snelling here. Just checking in. I hope you guys had a good New Year and extended Christmas break so far. So we're getting into tasks that you guys need to do for remote learning 2.0. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk to you guys about
I know where a bin is up here.
Logan. I want to talk to you guys about what we're kind of doing. And sort of, I'm going to try and do a live lesson. Here, take that. Sorry, talking to my son. I'm going to do a live lesson where we're going to look at different things and stuff that can kind of have a bit of banter, kind of have a bit of normal stuff that we'll do that. I'm thinking Thursday afternoon when we would normally have class. It'd be great to kind of get on and be able to chat. But for now, I want to go through the PowerPoint. I want you guys to excuse it for a little bit because I'm trying to do this while I'm watching my kids. So if you guys could bear with me, that would be great. 2 seconds. I'm currently sitting in a 4-year-old's bedroom recording this, so bear with me. Alright, so basically, I've set up an assignment. It's not due to the 17th, but essentially you guys are going through about 3/4 of Booklet 4. Booklet 4 is not as long as Booklet 3 was. That was the big one for this unit, but I think it's a good place. I kind of budgeted us about a week and a half, 2 weeks to do this anyway, so it works out. Normally we would have been doing our assessment at the end of the second or so week, so we're in pretty good shape because all we need to do is finish off this unit. I'm going to figure out some sort of assessment to do. I haven't really wrapped my head around it yet. I don't know how long this is going to go, but I just want to make sure that we're all kind of in line with what we need to do. We'll probably save the assessment until whenever we get back. But for the meantime, we'll look at this. And then what my plan is, what my thinking is, after we finish this unit, we're going to move into starting to research your AVU. So that's going to be something for next week and get that done. That's something you guys can do at home quite easily. But I want to just kind of finish off Booklet 4 and Topic 2. Okay, so when you go in, the files are there. Oops, sorry, student view. So this is what it will look like whenever you logged in. There's 2 files there. I've already downloaded them. So yeah, you can download them, and I will make it where you guys can edit that one. So when you go back, let's see, I'll make it so you guys can edit that, but so this is going to make it where you can, it'll give you your own copy. So now that that's updated, it'll give you your own copy and you can just edit it straight onto there. Now, my goal is for you guys to get through like the first 10 questions. So what I'm going to do just now, I know you guys love to hear me talk. We're talking about the move to the North, Black Power, and free at last. So I'm just going to kind of talk us through this and what all we're doing, like I would do in class normally. Obviously, we'll probably go a bit quicker because not stopping and things like that. So I'm going to talk you guys through the PowerPoint if you guys want to listen on, or if you just want to crack on doing it without yours. You can do this by like filling out these questions in your jotters, which you don't really have jotters, but filling out these questions and like handwriting them. You can do it by typing them out right there. And like I said, whenever you go through it, make sure you do it through the assignments tab, because that'll let you edit the one that's there. And all you have to do at the end of it, if you're working inside the assignment, is just click submit. So if I go here and I look at the student view, right? So because you'll be allowed to edit this, see where it says that student work. Once you open that up, you can type over that, and everything that you type in that, whether it be on your phone or whatever, will be what you can submit for your work. So it's a really straightforward, easy way to get everything done. All right, so that's the bit that you can change and do for yourself. All right, so now on to kind of what we're doing. So I'm going to have this kind of go along. I'm just going to read through the PowerPoint mainly. So yeah, but then your booklet's going to be there, and you can have your booklet out, like filling it out while you're watching this, or however you want to do it. I'm not really too concerned. Just make sure you guys do it so you don't fall behind. You're in shape to get your qualification and everything that you need for this, because we don't know how long this is going to be going on. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we'll be back at the end of January, but we need to make sure we're prepared as well. All right, so basically the civil rights movement, everything split in like 1965. You had peaceful protest, and in 1965 it started getting a bit radical, and that's the kind of stuff that we're going to start talking about. So before, with Martin Luther King, it all went through. It was really peaceful, and everything was really good. Everything was gravy. And then everything changed because more and more people right here started getting frustrated, and they were just getting annoyed. Everything was going on for so long. The movement was going on in the South, but there was a lot of stuff, like if you're out west, there was still racism, like in California and stuff, and if you're in like New York, there was still a lot of racism. But all the civil rights movement stuff was kind of sticking around, talking about how to fix the South. But Black Power is a thing that kind of changed everything. So you had Black Power, which is something that started by this guy Stokely Carmichael, who we're going to speak about. And also you had Malcolm X. And they didn't want to have a peaceful movement. They just said, by any means necessary. And in 1966, there was a new group formed called the Black Panthers, who did a lot of radical, or considerably more radical stuff. So in the South, we know we had Jim Crow laws. We know about racism. We know about where people could eat, where they could bus, they could ride, stuff like that. There was a big fear of the KKK. We know the things that were going on. So because of all this stuff, by 1910, this is before we started talking about the civil rights movement, loads of black people just moved up north. Over 500,000 people moved just in the 1910s and 1920s. So in 20 years, loads of people moved up north. Okay, so it went from, at the start of the 20th century, 700,000, but then by 1960, 3 million. So it more than tripled in a short period of time, considering how long things normally go. There's a clip here. I encourage you guys to watch it. I'm not going to watch this just now while I'm talking you guys through the video. All right, so you go through and you answer these questions. Have a table, push and pull factors, why people want to leave the South. Why people want to leave, push pull. So just do a quick table, and then you can go through and say, where do you think these should be? Remember, a push factor is something that pushes people away from their home, so it would be pushing them out of the South. A pull factor would be something that would pull them towards the new place. So thought life would be better in the North. That would be a pull factor, because that's something that's going to draw them to the North. All right, where did they move to? They moved all over the place. New York, Detroit, Chicago. They really just wanted to get away from the segregation and how bad things were, the lynchings where you could just get picked up for walking down the street. So they just wanted to escape. Now, as you go through here, there's loads of answers to questions and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically, it was still a really racially prejudiced society. Even though there was no segregation up north, which was one of the main places they went to, there was no segregation, but it was still really racist up north. So it didn't really fix things altogether. It didn't really sort out most of the problems. All right, factory owners, so on the second one, wanted black workers because they would work cheaper even than the immigrants would. So it was even because they're used to working for slave labor. So the immigrants were coming over and working for cheap. We talked about that in the first booklet. And then when the black people started coming up, they started migrating up north, they started losing their jobs. So there's a lot of, remember how there's a lot of people who didn't like what was going on there. So as you go through, like right now, you should be about here. And you're talking about the different stuff that was going on. So we're moving our way and we're kind of walking through stuff that was going on over here. Okay. All right. So basically some positive things that happen. Positives of moving up north is they could get away from the poverty, and by going up north, they didn't want to be farmers anymore, stuff like that. They'd have a much brighter future. Force the government to listen. New different types of black music. Jazz is a big one that came out of New Orleans and Harlem. Jobs in factories, getting ready for World War II. And there was no racism or no Jim Crow law, segregation is the word I was looking for. Poverty was still there. So these are some bad stuff. So they would still probably be poor. They would probably not have great housing. They would live in rundown areas and ghettos. Um, competition for housing. Basically, there wasn't loads of people. And if you had loads of people move into a place like Annan, they'd run out of they'd run out of places to stay. And then house prices would go up and all kinds of things. So there was loads of stuff. And then there were also race riots, like what happened in St. Louis and Chicago, showing that violence towards blacks still existed. So they escaped the South where everything was really bad. And by the time they got there, it was still some problems. So here's a task that you guys are to do, which is in your booklet. Here they go, right here. So things that were better in the North, things that were worse in the North. All right, go through those and place those into the right section. So we're already about a quarter of the way through. Okay, so some things to know about. There were race riots. So there's one in Lake Michigan. There's some questions you can answer through here. All right, so there's race riots. So this one's on Lake Michigan. I'll tell you a little bit about it. And then this is the period called the Great Migrations, where loads of black people moved north. So you see all these are people who lived in the South. As time went on, they stopped living in the South. Okay. 6 million black people by the end of it moved up north. We know about the appeals and sort of the things that made them want, so you can look through those. Employment was better. We talked through a bunch of this stuff. Just a bit more detail. There's a revision, bite-sized revision. Don't worry about doing that. The Harlem Renaissance, that's where black culture really became a thing. Things like jazz music and art and writing and different stuff, authors and stuff like that came around. It was really important. But then, like I said, you ended up having, just like it was whenever we had the immigrants, there was a lot of really upset immigrants, I guess at this point. They were losing their jobs in the factories and things like that they took from the old immigrants because they were willing to work cheaper, and they got undercut the same way they did the others. So there's a lot of kind of problems, and then so lots of bad things happen. So it tended to happen when things were really hot. People were grumpy because it was so hot. Poverty was around, unemployment was around, and police were fighting and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, there was riots. So some examples: Watts District in LA. Right, so this started much like this, quite a similar story to what you see kind of going on today, and that's kind of what we're going to finish up this bit about. But it's when you look at, here's police arresting black man on suspicion of drink driving. It led to a fight and blah, 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 about police brutality and kind of stuff like that. This sounds quite similar. Race riots in Chicago, but you know how there's a video there that talks about it, so make sure you try and check that out. Here we have Black Power in the Olympics. So this is a sprinter in the mid-60s. And the Mexico Olympics in 1968. So this is an athlete who basically showed his Black Power stance even in the Olympics, which we've seen a lot of racism. We've seen Black Lives Matter and stuff like that in sports today. So there's loads of stuff that's still going on, some still issues that are still fighting through today. All right. Now you need to go through and make sure you're up to date. At this point, you should be through with page 6 in your booklet. It's downloaded a little bit differently for me because it doesn't have the pictures, but it does have the pictures in the version that you'll be doing. Okay. All right. Violence started getting through, so you're going through page 7 and 8. But basically, guys, you're just walking through, you're learning about the Black Power movement. One thing that basically changed everything and why a lot of people started pushing against it was right here. It was when Martin Luther King was assassinated. There's a YouTube video there. This will take you up to page 8 through 12. All right. And when you go through those, you see you start to have this big push, because basically Martin Luther King was kind of the glue that kept everything peaceful. And once Martin Luther King was gone, in a really bad way, things really started to change. There wasn't that voice that told everybody to be peaceful. Let's fix this and do this, and let's do things to make it better. And whenever that happened, we moved from nonviolence to black power in the 60s. So Malcolm X was a massive figure. He was also he didn't like the nonviolent structure. He was pretty much, if you're violent to us, we'll be violent to you. So he talked about the right to self-defense, poor economic and social conditions and stuff like that. Malcolm X, there's a biography on him, and there's Malcolm X there talking about Martin Luther King. So his father was murdered in a racist attack, and then he did 7 years in prison for burglary. And then while he was in there, he joined the Nation of Islam, and he basically went through and developed the way that he viewed things. So there's a guide on Nation of Islam there. And basically, he was assassinated in 1965. And that was another push. So you had Martin Luther King assassinated in 1968. And Malcolm X assassinated in 1965. But basically, like, things started getting really rough. So the government started kind of going in. They were tracking different things. They were worried because he was saying that there was violence and stuff. So using the information that's in here, do pages 11 through 18 in your booklet. And then this is the last section that we're doing. Stokely Carmichael is the last person that we're talking about before we move into the last bit. But basically that's where you're going up to. So just to give you an idea, it looks like it's lots. I don't know, but it's just kind of going through your information. We just can actually, I'll call it there. All right. So get up to Stokely Carmichael. I'll edit the assignment and make sure it says that. So finish off Malcolm X. That puts you up to page 19 of the booklet. That's about what we would do in a normal week of class. And I think you guys would be going through pretty quickly. So you're looking at slide 42. And finish off Malcolm X. That's number 17 there. Okay. Right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Like I said, we'll try and do a live lesson. I'm thinking Thursday, and that would be 1:45, which would be the normal time that we would have class, so that we don't have any duplicates or anything like that. So we'll just get on at 1:45, see if you guys want to go. Yeah. All right, guys, I'll speak to you soon. Let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me an email, put it on the group chat, on the Teams, whatever you want to do, and get with me. All right, speak soon. Bye.